I'm pleased, I'm happy, and I'm honored to have won it with someone like Gable Stevenson. So he's just pretty cool.
Spencer, the first question this afternoon is going to be from Cody Goodwin.
Hey, Spencer. Appreciate you guys doing this. You're a student of the sport. You obviously know a lot about the history of wrestling. To be now the 5th wrestler ever to win this award twice, I mean, does that add any significance to this to you?
I mean, yeah, of course. You get put into a company, and it's just like I always say, it's an honor. And I mean, I'm humbled to have won the award. I would have been content with Gable winning it or whoever would have won it, but I do think it was a 2-man race this year, and I would have been happy with him winning it because he deserves it. So I'm honored to have won. Committee chose 2 people, so me and him are pretty close, so we're not upset about it. So.
The next question, Spencer, from KJ Pilcher.
Yeah, Spencer, from what you went through at the end of the season in the postseason and what you overcame, does that add anything to this award, given the adversity that you fought through to finish things off?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's humbling. I'm just happy to have won it. I was just doing my best to win an NCAA title for my team. I know my team needed me for us to bring a team title back home. So that was my main priority. I wasn't thinking about bonus every match or pinning and teching everyone. I was focused on scoring the next point and getting through the matches healthy and being able to finish the tournament for my teammates and for myself. And I ended up winning the Hodge, and I almost had 100% bonus rate. I missed it by 1 point in the finals. So I wasn't thinking about it really, but I did what I could, and I'm just happy to have done what I did and honored to have won.
Spencer Lee, the next question is from Grant Becker.
Spencer, you mentioned your relationship with Gable a little bit, and for us, we can see you guys going back and forth on Twitter a little bit, and obviously there's that mutual respect. But what's your relationship like with him, and what does it mean to you to share it with a guy like that, for you two to go in history together in 2021 as the Hodge winners?
Well, I think we both understand that what we're doing and how we do it is something that we earned ourselves, and how hard it was and what we go through to be where we're at. And he's an incredible athlete, an incredible person, and I wish him luck in the future and all his future endeavors. He's going to be super successful in anything that he does, whether he fights, plays football, or goes to WWE. Who knows what that guy can do? The ceiling is, the sky's the limit for that guy. And so, I mean, I'm honored to have known him and to have the relationship that I have with him. And, I wish him luck. I think he's going to be an Olympic gold medalist this summer, and you guys can quote me on that.
That's to the next questions from Cody Goodwin.
You say you don't think about this award when you're out there competing and when you're getting ready for matches and stuff, but are you kind of conscious of the chatter as the season goes along, that it's kind of you and Gable at the front of that conversation?
Well, I mean, yeah, we both understand what we're doing every match and scoring, a lot of points and bonus points. But I don't focus on it because when I was a sophomore, that's all I focused on was winning the Hodge, and then I go and I lose 3 times that year, right? So the focus shouldn't be about the Hodge or about, those awards. It should be about what's next and scoring points and continuing to score points for 7 minutes and more if needed, like I always say, right? And if you do that and you do your job right, then Hodge Trophy will come. And that's what we preach. That's what we believe here at the University of Iowa and Minnesota, I guess, as well, because he did a great job during his last 2-3 years. So props to him.
The next question, Spencer, from Austin Hansen.
Hey, Spencer, I was just wondering how tough it was for you to put the Olympic dream on hold again this year, especially after how things went last year and what that process, decision-making process was kind of like for you.
Well, as far as you could imagine, I guess. I always used to say that I would trade anything for an Olympic gold medal, but Tom doesn't like me saying that very much because he doesn't want you shortchanging, winning national titles, because they are important and they are hard to win. And I don't want to put down those accomplishments to myself, but it is my dream. It is my my only dream, really. It's my main dream, I guess you could say, not my only dream. And, to have it taken away from me basically off my own decision is pretty hard, but I do know that that's what's best for me. And it's a decision that we came to, and I believe in our entire staff as a whole, and their decision is final, and it's the best thing for me, and I agree with them. And it was a decision I also made myself. It was my decision ultimately. If I wanted to compete, I would be if I thought it was my best interest, and it wasn't. So here I am.
Spencer, the next question is from KJ Pilcher.
Spencer, when you were awarded the Hodge Trophy in the ceremony before the season, one of the things you mentioned was being one of the only Hodge winners, or being the only Hodge winner not to have an NCAA title. Now that you have that NCAA title, the Hodge Trophy, team title all together, does that add a little bit to it now that, you know, it's NCAA champ this season with the Hodge Trophy?
Well, that's how it should be. You have to be an NCAA champion to win the Hodge. So I guess it came to fruition this year, and how it should have been, in my opinion, and in my mind last year. I believe I would have won, and this would have been my fourth this year. So that was but, you know, we do what we do, and it's a tough year, COVID year. We did everything we could. We believed in our administration and everyone, and the staff and everyone that helped us, allow us to compete, including NCAA. So,
Spencer, we will circle back to Cody Goodwin.
I know you kind of touched on the decision to not go to the trials and how tough that was. Have you guys had any further conversation about like surgery and timeline and coming back and things like that? Or
we're taking everything day by day, and we're going to do what's best for me, whatever that decision may be. But right now, we have we have, obviously I have my own opinions, and they have their own opinions as well. But we're doing what's best for me, and right now I'm getting ready to work out after this, and that's the plan. That's all I care about.
Spencer, the next question from Grant Becker.
Spencer, I mean, obviously the physical part of this is important too, but mentally watching the trials this weekend and then the Olympics this summer, as you go through your physical recovery process, what's that going to be like for you? I imagine that's one of the toughest things you'll have had to deal with, right?
Well, I went to the Olympics in Rio in 2016, so I've seen it firsthand. I've seen success. I've seen downfalls firsthand. So I understand what it's like. But I mean, I'll be watching on TV this year regardless, unless I made a team, right? Because no fans can watch at the Olympics in Tokyo. I mean, I think Japan's probably one of my favorite countries in the world, so it would have been pretty cool to go there. Everyone kind of knows that I really like Japanese culture and a bunch of other things that comes with it. But it would have been fun. Man, it's going to be hard to watch, but cheer for Team USA. Hope they do their best, bring them some medals, and wait for my time in Paris 2024 in my mother's home country, and hopefully my grandmother can watch me wrestle for the first time in Paris at the Olympic Games.
Very cool. Anything else? Any other questions for Spencer Lee?
I don't want you to end on a downer like that. So, can you tell us? I mean, we watched Caitlin Clark have this spectacular performance. We watched Luka Garza all season. Luka talked about what it meant to him to watch you fight through the ACL tear. You were here during Megan Gustafson's time at Iowa. Iowa athletics is always competing at a high level, but this era of these individuals that you're a part of has been something that really, I don't know if any college in the country can match right now. What has it been like to be at Iowa at this time for you and to be with those other people pushing each other?
I mean, seeing the growth from my freshman year to now in all the athletic programs of the University of Iowa, I think it's like a movement. People should, you want to be as successful in any sport, you name it, here we got it. It's amazing. I mean, I can name so many really amazing athletes on campus, like Lala Tasaga and Jesse Jewell, all the football players and everyone else, right? We got them all. We got MLB players. We got people who could go pro at softball. I mean, it doesn't matter. The University of Iowa has grown so much since I was a freshman, having teams that weren't really in the top 10 in the country. Now we have teams that are making superstars, right? So it's pretty amazing. We got something good going on here in the little state of Iowa, right? And it's pretty amazing. I'm just honored to be a part of it, and I'm just thankful that how close the University of Iowa athletes are and how they support each other. This is kind of a lame year. Usually card will be packed with a lot of athletes for wrestling matches and basketball matches and volleyball matches, you name it. But so hopefully next year we can have some fans and have some more Iowa Hawkeye camaraderie. Pretty amazing. Hawkeye fans should be pretty lucky to be part of this, and we're pretty lucky to have them as well. We've got the best fans in the world, so pretty good mutual relationship there.
All right, Grant, thanks for lobbing that softball out. And thanks, Spencer, for those kind words for the department. Thanks again for your time this afternoon. We'll let you get to your workout. And
Sounds good.
Catch you down the road. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
As Spencer slides out, head coach Tom Brandt is going to join us momentarily.
Am I sitting? You're sitting. All good.
Tom, thanks for your time this afternoon. Can you hear me all right?
Can hear you great.
Hey, glad to hear it. All right, if you have a question for Tom Brandt, please throw your hand up in the queue. I'll get something started. Tom, a lot of good things to sell here at the University of Iowa, but when you can put something like Spencer Lee out there and now a two-time Hodge Trophy winner as a figure piece, what does that mean for you on the both fundraising, recruiting trail, and all the good stuff that's happening here?
Well, we still work hard at everything we do, no matter what our results are. But this is first of all, this is a tribute to Spencer Lee and the way he approaches the sport and his life, the way he was raised, and the way he's matured. This is about domination and character. This award has criteria. It's not just about wrestling, and Spencer embodies all of the above to a very, very high degree as a representative of our program, and two-time Hodge Trophy winner. And that is awesome for our program, and we're excited. I'm excited. This is one of those things where, you know what, you talk to your athletes about going out and earning things, earning awards, earning championships. Sometimes these things are out of your hands a little bit, but this one was firmly in his grasp. I mean, 7-0 in the finals. He could have cut him and got a major. He would have had 100% bonus point percentage, but he kept him down to keep the 0 on the scoreboard. 7-0. Guy was on the edge of the mat the whole time. Was that match called correctly? There's just a lot of questions there where I don't know if things were really going for him, but he made them swing his way. And you know what? Put on an unbelievable dominating performance to cap a unbelievably dominating season for him, cap the team race. And then, you know what, let's talk about, the adversity that he went through. And one of the criteria of this award is heart. And there's 6 or 7 criteria. And, nobody had more heart.
Tom, the next question from Steve Batterson, Quad City Times.
Hey, Tom, as significant as it is to have a guy win this once, what does it say about Spencer to win this thing 2 years in a row?
Well, you're undefeated, first of all, 2 years in a row. Most Hodge Trophy winners are undefeated. And you've dominated 2 years in a row. And so you're not going backwards. You're continuing to get better, embodying all the things that, we talk about, but really what he's about anyway. Those are the things that make, this program great. And those are the things that, make our young people in our program aspire to, hey, I'm going after that. And this is how you do it. And he does it as well as anybody. And we got some, recruits coming in. We got some young guys in our room right now that are going to have to step up, and they're going to be stepping up real quick here because you're going to be in the frying pan in that competitive arena a lot sooner than you think. So what an example. What an example.
Tom, the next question from KJ Pilcher.
Hi, Tom. You pointed out a lot of the factors, the dominance, the character, obviously the heart with the adversity. Which of those factors really stand out the most to you as far as thinking, wow, this was something truly special this last season, or maybe just a highlight of what really made it special?
There's this one ingredient that's rolled up into one ball, and that ball is Spencer Lee. And all the things that you can talk about, it's about goodness and people. He embodies that. And as a competitor, it's okay that you're a ferocious competitor. it's okay. But when you step off the mat, you got to handle yourself a certain way. He does that. So it's, yeah, heart and all these criteria, but you know what? Roll them all up into a little ball. And you know what? Put a name on that ball, Spencer Lee, and whatever he's about, that's what this award that's what this award represents. I can't say it any different, any better, any more concise, any more complimentary of a guy who earned an award that was something that's kind of there's speculation there, there's a vote, there's a committee, and you know what, it was clear. It's clear as a bell, clear as day, clear as light, clear as whatever you want to say. And congratulate Gable Steveson also. And so awesome.
The next question, Tom, from Cody Goodwin.
Hey, Coach. Talk to Spencer about this too. Just, he's a history buff when it comes to wrestling, specifically just the history of the sport and kind of where things are at. And what does it say that he came in as a mega recruit, right? And there was a lot of talk about him, and now he is more than, I think, surpassing the expectations that maybe some had when he got here. What does it say about what he's been able to do in terms of just kind of where he's at in terms of Iowa history and college wrestling history? I mean, he's authoring a spectacular career here so far with still a year to go.
Well, you talk about history, he's making history for himself. So he's a history buff. He pays attention to the past of the sport. And Dan Hodge is certainly someone that he's known because he's given him awards since he was, however old. And so he knows him. He knows who he is. He knows the significance of Dan Hodge. And he certainly knows the significance of the Dan Hodge Trophy before he even had a chance to win it as a high schooler. And then all of a sudden you win 2 in a row. So that answers your question right there. So yeah, he's surpassing what many had as expectations, but you know what's inside of him and his mind and the things that, make him who he is, as a competitor, as a person, the things that, his humble self, how he carries himself as a man, as a gentleman, off the mat. You know what? If he's not doing those things, he's not a 2-time winner. And that's important to him to represent, to be able to put these accolades on his mantle. And it's important to him because these things are an indication of how your wrestling's going. If you're in the conversation for the Hodge, I mean, really in the conversation as a dominant wrestler, that's an indication of how your wrestling's going. And now he's won it 2 years in a row. Awesome. And don't forget, he won the Sullivan. And he probably should have won the OW as a freshman. I mean, he had a weight class that had 4 national championships. And he probably should have won the OW this year. So, he doesn't have an OW yet, but he's got 2 Hodges and a Sullivan and 3 national championships. And he's not done yet. And he's international minded. So awesome for Iowa City, Iowa, and the University of Iowa Hawkeye Wrestling Program. Awesome.
One final question, Tom, from Cody Goodwin.
Yeah, not that he probably thinks this is a consolation, but to receive this award after the decision to pull out of the trials, what do you think that means? I mean, does that mean anything or resonate with him or with you? And I guess what were those conversations like when he ultimately decided not to wrestle?
Well, I mean, you have to put, you put a lot of thought into it. So Harry Brands is there, Spencer's there, Larry, Lee, and Kathy Lee are there. And you put a lot of thought into it. And the bottom line is you do the best thing for the individual. And I know that there is trust both ways. We trust him in a lot more ways than just going out and represent himself on the mat. But we trust him. We trust his family, and I know he trusts us, and I know his family trusts us. And it's because of this whole entire process where, he actually started with some adversity, coming into our program, coming off that state finals situation where, he was -1 ACL. So, there were right away, you were in a strengthening rehab scenario, environment, or whatever. He didn't just hit the ground running and jump into a wrestling room and start kicking tail. He had a long mend. And then you remember the UNI Open, and then Midlands, and then we took him out of red shirt. And so, what, all that being said, that's a long answer to your question, but all that being said is the path that he's gotten to this point, that path continues into the future. And this decision is part of that path. His best wrestling is ahead of him, no doubt. No doubt. You got to have him healthy and rejuvenated. It makes a lot of sense to do it this way if you really look at it. This is like, for me, I used to talk about the Gable kind of influence of this program a lot more, but we've kind of gotten out of that a little bit. But this is Gable-esque. This is what Dan Gable would do when you'd go into his office and you'd talk to him about your future. You just came off of this and that. You got this going on. You're going to be there when it counts in all these different arenas and all these different events. And your best wrestling's ahead of you. You know what? Maybe it's time to rest right now.
All right, Tom, that's it for the questions. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone else for taking time this afternoon and talking to Spencer and Tom. Let me know if you have any questions. We will probably send out some audio and video of Matt Nelson and Hawk Vision. So all the best. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Brooke.